Right, hello, good morning. Today I am going to be doing a remix. I work with a label called Märked, who are from Amsterdam, and I'm doing a remix, and I thought it'd be fun and interesting and revealing to do the remix live, record it. So I'm doing a screen video capture of my screen, and I'm recording my face on the iPhone, and I've got a little microphone, 1, 2, and I'm capturing all that into an external recorder. So yeah, I'm just going to go through my process of, how I do a remix, and hopefully it should be fun and interesting. So I'm just going to go for it. But yeah, I think the audio quality should be all right. I did an Instagram live thing a month ago, and what really put me off is when I listened to it back, it sounded really bad. And, as I do like to have quality audio, and I'm a mastering engineer and producer, I thought I'll do it properly this time. So, but then after setting it all up and getting my head around how I'd record the audio separate and the video and the screencast, I then realised I've got a really squeaky chair. So I'm going to try not to move too much. I've got to keep an eye on the levels to make sure nothing's peaking, so bear with me if I have to do any technical bollocks like that. Anyway, shut up and get on with it. So I'm using Logic. I've used Logic since I was about 14. And I've just got the folder full of the parts, which is, the track is called Devil in a Red Dress. It's very similar to me on a Friday night. I've got all the stems in here, and I've got the full track, so I can just... Another thing, I'm going to try not to talk when the audio's on, otherwise it's going to be really hard to edit afterwards. So I can have a flick through the full track to see what that sounds like. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit. So it's huge. It's got a mega kick. It's got a nice sort of rolling, trancey lead thing. Yeah, I'm just going to flick through each bit. So I've got a nice hefty kick, which I like. So I'm going to just drag that in. I don't know what the BPM is of this. Oh, that's pretty loud. So I could work out the BPM, but I can't really be asked. So I'm just going to do a little loop and do it by eye. So I think it's 132. And you can see the transient of the next kick there, so I'm wrong, it's not 132. It's not 139, is it? Surely. So I've just checked the start. Might be speedy. So it is 139, so I'm just going to chop that, and then, because I'm a good boy, I'm going to fade the end of the sample. Just loop that for a bit, check it's all looping nicely. Just going to turn the sample down a little bit. So you've got a basic sample editor in Logic. It's a bit better, and I'm going to give it a bit more punch at the front just by turning it up. So I'm just affecting this part of the sample. Oh, maybe that's a bit much. Just undo that. So I'm just getting a bit more. Just going to save this. And then I think I'd quite like it a bit more punchy. So I've got a folder of samples of stuff, just stuff that I like, or so layering layering kick drums is always fun, but can cause major problems with phase, and you know, if they're tuned to, in fact, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to load it in a drum machine. See, I've got that melody stuck in my head already, so that's a good sign. Just going to get my sample that I just had as audio. Then I can just get it in here, and if I need to tune it, I can just do it in the drum machine instead of doing it with audio. So yeah, I like the original kick, but I just wanted a bit more punch. Let's just turn it all down a bit. And then I'm just going to EQ. I don't know why I'm doing the kick first, but whatever. And there's quite a lot of sort of mid-range, well, lower mid rumble on the original kick, so I'm just going to take that out a bit. Yeah, so it's kind of just playing around with the EQs of each of the kicks to make them fit. Anyway, I'll leave that for now, save, and then I'll just have another flick through the audio. Sure. So that's the respace, which I like, but there's something weird going on with it. Just realised I was like gurning slightly then. Maybe that's the respace. So I don't want to take the full pattern, but what I might do is just drag it in, find it. I'm just going to stop that kick from playing. Going to drag the pattern in. I know I'm going backwards, but bear with me, bear with me. So I really like the tone of that one. So what I'm going to do is cut that. Oh, fuck's sake. Let's do it properly this time. I'm going to get rid of the rest, and then I'm going to just export that on its own. Solo that. Bounce it into my samples folder. Kaylah remix Reese. Right, then I can just delete that. And then I'm going to get a sampler, which is by Isotope. It's called Iris. It's probably similar to the Ableton, the more complex sampler in Ableton. Just find my samples folder. Just leave. Right, there it is. I'm just going to drag this sample in and then get my keyboard up. Classic JoeFarr moves. Make a chord out of something. It's a bit quiet, that one. Also, classic JoeFarr is Logic Overdrive. Yeah, so this is a cool sampler. Where's it gone? So the problem with samplers is when you're playing a sample and you move up a pitch, the loop becomes shorter. So if you're trying to play them at the same time as a chord, they don't loop in the same place, so they end up overlapping and going all wonky. But in this sampler, you've got a pitch mode called Radius RT. Don't know what it means, but it means that it stretches the sample at the different points you play it so that they loop the same. Yeah, they loop together. Whoa, some weird latency thing going on. I think I'm just going to use that as like a texture for the introduction. Just got to quantize that. It's got a nice kind of triplet feel to it. Just realised I'm using my second monitor and it's not capturing that, so I'll try and keep it all on the one screen. And I don't know if my voice is too loud, but it looks kind of okay on the level meters, so I'm just gonna roll with it, man. Just gonna see how that loops over the 4 bars. It's a bit weird. It kind of flows out of time and then back in when the loop starts. So that's because of the length. So I'm just going to fiddle with that. This could get a little bit boring. Go and make a cup of tea. Quite like how it goes in and out, but it'd just be annoying to mix. What we could do to try and get around that is chop it, split the notes. In the right place would be helpful. It's a bit static though, isn't it? It's a bit like on the beat, on the beat. All right. Probably just leave that for now. It's a compromise, isn't it? So it's still got that kind of organic roll of the timing of the original, but I've cut it every bar. So it doesn't go too wonky, because we don't want it too wonky. It's techno. Got to keep it straight. Then I'd go back to my folder of samples and have a little look through for something else. And I'm really lazy, so if there's only like one sample in there and I don't hear it first time, I'll just leave it, move on. Snare. Could be nice. Sorry about my whistling habit. So I'll just zoom out. Oh, there's one right there, so let's chop it up. But I don't want a big reverby thing at this point, so I'll probably just shorten it, fade it. This is probably something I might just save for later, but I might, I'll get it while I'm here. Quite like that, but it needs a little trim. But I'm not going to do it in there because it's annoying. I can just do it here. Balls. Just going to boost the start of the sample a bit, like I did with the kick. My MacBook is starting to heat up, so the fans are going crazy. It's a bit old, but 2012, it's done me proud. Why don't we try putting the snares in the right place? And when I hear things that I think, oh, that's going to need, I don't know, some highs or whatever it is, I'll just do it there and then. I mean, I might not even use this snare, but then again, I might. And yeah, I'm just mixing as I go because it just makes everything quick. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't do that. Well, I guess if you're doing acoustic stuff or just getting stuff down quickly, recording-wise, then you might. But if you're producing on a grid with plugins and samples, just mix as you go. That's what I do. Just delete that channel and that channel. So I'm just having a thought about that sample. The chord that I did. Probably slightly predictable, but I might do something like that in the long run. Or I might not. I will just stick with what it was. Yeah, I'm good at auditions. So I'm going to do something with that main pattern because I want to. Just drop it in. Have a little look. I don't want to just take the pattern directly as is, so I'll probably fuck around with it. Sorry about the swearing. Just get the timing right. Might help. Gotta go for another JoeFarr classic move now, which is fucking about with the time stretching. There's a few different settings or algorithms you can choose from, depending on what your material is, but it's best to just choose the wrong ones if you're doing if you're experimenting. It's quite nice. So yeah, I'll probably just, well, you can just watch. You can work it out. You're a clever bunch. Yeah, sorry, I got lost there in my own thoughts. Yes, maybe. So I think the pattern is too repetitive, so I'm going to chop it just there. And it'll be like that. Maybe, we'll see at the end, but I quite like that. And then just going to add a bit of reverb to that. The Valhalla reverbs are quite nice. But I just want it to catch the tail, so I'm going to automate the mix or the wet dry. Just at the end here. Too much, I know that'll be too much. going to put these perks in, I think, maybe. Trim it, don't be lazy. Yeah, what I did there with this bit of the sample is just with anything loopy, it's good to have little small variations, I find. So I just doubled up that front hit, but sounds a bit weird with the time stretching, so I'll probably I was going to say I'll come back to it later, but I might just do it right now. I don't know. Scissors, please. So yeah, when I'm dragging in a sample, what I always do is just have a little look on the EQ and get the analyzer going. So this shaker, for example, has got loads of information, signal. Sorry, I should stop the sample. It's got loads of shit going on down here, which it doesn't need really, so I'll just roll that off with a filter. Not too much, because you don't want to lose your the kind of body or the the low mids. But that is valuable, you know, for a genre that likes to have it loud mixes. If you get rid of all this stuff down below on the parts that don't need it, then you're gonna you're gonna have more room for bass, basically. So you can have it louder. That's the simple explanation. It's more complicated than that, but this isn't a loudness tutorial. Anyway, so yeah, you won't hear a difference really if you've got those lows cut. I mean, I'm listening on my mastering mains. I can't hear a difference, so it's just unwanted information or signal, whatever you want to call it. So I'm liking that, and that would probably be the basis of my intro. I'm just going to do a couple of little tweaky things. So my kick layer I'm going to send to a bus, and then I'm going to mute that bus, and then the chord thing I've done, I'm just going to sidechain that a little bit. And one of my favorite compressors is from Klanghelm. And it's like 25 euros, and it's better than most things out there. So yeah, I'm just going to choose the bus of the kick drum. So I've sent the kick drum to the bus. I'm going to choose that bus, and then you click this little button here, which is external, and then I'm going to up the sidechain a bit so it doesn't just take the low signal, because on a kick, if a kick is long, then basically use that whole duration of the kick to sidechain, and then you'll just lose whatever you're sidechaining. So you just get more of the higher you raise this up, the shorter amount of time the sidechain will make an impact. I think that's right. I mean, I think my explanation, I know that's right. I mean, I think my explanation is right. So, yeah. So you want to bring down the threshold. So you can see on the gain reduction, that's the kick coming through. And if I put the sidechain down, you can see how much more of an effect it has. But you lose the signal, basically, of your whole sound. So I just want to get a shorter amount of time. Now, I do like sidechain, and it's really effective in like creating space in a mix, and I do like the actual sound of it, but I don't want to overdo it. Like, if it's too much, it's a bit Venga Boys or something, you know, or Big Room Trance. Not that there's anything wrong with Big Room Trance, I'll have you know. I just want to look at the EQ. Oh, I haven't even got one on there of this chordy thing I've got going on. Okay, so 40 minutes into the remix, and I reckon that's intro done. So I would just roughly map out, as in copy and paste. Oh, what am I doing? I am taking it with me. So I'd probably, with the kind of vibe of this track, make it a slightly longer intro, and then something will happen there. So I'd probably get rid of that lead thing for the first part, and I'd get rid of, get rid of the hats. While I'm at it, excuse me, I would probably, no, I will. I don't know if anyone knows about Camel Crusher, but it's one of the best free plugins of all time. But I'm not using it to distort everything. I'm just going to use the filter. Could use one of the stock Logic ones, but this one's super basic, and I like the sound of it. So I'm just going to automate the cutoff. I mean, basic intro. So, yeah, as I said, I like to... Oh, that chair is a fucking nightmare, isn't it? I like to mix as I go, so I've just got... Cheers. one of my favourite plugins, which is Multiplicity by DMG Audio. And this guy, the guy that makes this, has been around since the start of digital audio plugins. Digital audio plugins, yeah. And this thing is like, if I use it in mastering all the time. And if there was one plugin I had to have, I mean, if I could only have one plugin, it would be this one. That's the better way of saying it. So it's so many things, but for this synth, I'm going to use it as a frequency-specific compressor. So I just want to take some of the energy out of that peak there in the middle, because I can hear it is going to be a problem. So you can choose different filters which give you different curves. You can zoom in to your problem area. And then bring the threshold down. You can watch your little meter here to see if you're catching it. So it's really just the start of that note that I want to get rid of. And then just adjust the ratio till you get the amount of reduction you feel is right. I want more. Give me more. It's too peaky. What do you think? Yep. I think there's another one as well. This low one. So on most plugins, you'd go, oh, I need to put another instance of the plugin on to do the same job. But you can have as many bands as you like in this thing. Same again. Just probably do it a bit quicker this time. Yeah, like low mid pressure like that can really ruin a mix. If you've got too much spike, although it's not really low mid, but I suppose it is. I can hear issues with that sample, just with the cutting and the starts and the ends, but I'll come back to that because that's, yeah, you don't want to see all that. So when I play a loop like that, I'll sometimes just I'll just hear an idea. So then I'll try and make that idea out of the existing parts that I've been given. I was just kind of hearing a roll and, yeah, like a little fill, I guess. like that, but then with a big smack after it. Some classic Kaylah. He's got a jungle break. Nothing wrong with a jungle break. So I'm just gonna, I don't want to use a whole loop of that. I just want one little hit. So I'm going to find one. That one, oops. Chop, chop. I think I want that there. Bear with me. There's the wife on the text. I'm losing the plot with this sample, don't know why. Good. It's enough to send you wild. It's pretty brash, that drums. Yes, so I'm going to use the same reverb. If I was clever, I would probably put that on a bus, but I can't. Right, let's get rid of that horrible looping thing. I've just realised I haven't got my loop button. Cycle, okay. Yeah, I do like to bit crush read. Which is fun, which is nice. And that's it, I'm done. No, I'm joking. So that's the intro. Oh, shit. So then what I want to do is like, it's got to drop, hasn't it? I've got to I want it to be banging from this point onwards, so I probably have a little break of just this sound and the loopy chord thing. Then I would filter down that, filter it, mate. And that's where it's going to drop. So I'm going to want the kick. Sorry, I've got cold hands. It's not really warmed up in the studio. Then I'm going to probably keep the perks. Might do a cheeky little thing at the end. Copy. Move. Fuck's sake, sorry. Right, so then I'll go back to my folder. So I'm just going to play it. I'm going to loop it so I can listen to the new stuff over the top. What I've realised is I've got the BPM slightly wrong, but whatever. Let's just listen to this. So this is the bass line thing. So I'm probably going to make something out of this for the kind of main drive of the main part of the track. Where do I cut it? Why is it doing that? Why? Just trying to find a nice loop of it because it slightly varies, or I'm just being stupid and looping it in the wrong place. But I'll have that, please, thank you. And I'm going to make it grungy. It is grungy already, but don't get more techno than that, mate. But it sounds slightly off. Even worse if you do that, you idiot. Sorry, that is annoying. Just trying to find the right point. What is the point? Very important. Find the right loop points. Because if it's ever so slightly off, you're going to ruin my day. Right, so I'm just going to use Native Instruments Reactor effects ting, because it's fucking cool. And it's this one, and I think it's a kind of amp guitar-y emulator. But yeah, it's just pretty wild. I told you. Yeah. The reason why that sounds so good is because of, excuse my chair, is because there's so much stereo stuff going on. It's going round your head and sounds brilliant, but you don't want too much stereo, well, in my opinion, because you want your mix to translate, this fucking chair, mix to translate to mono as well, so because some club systems are mono. So if you've ever, like me and probably most other techno producers, you've made your track and you're really happy with it and the mix is great, sounds super good at home on your system, on your headphones, it sounds great, and you go into a club and the main synth that you made just completely disappears. It sounds like someone's muted it. That's because it's too wide. And so when you, in mono, it'll just collapse and disappear. Yeah, so it's about finding a balance, especially with music that's made for clubs. Yeah, mono check. Okay, it's a hint. But if you find I remember a track I did for Ansem for Death Becomes Us was the EP title, and yeah, I made the main synth and it sounded amazing, but when I did a mono check it completely disappeared, so I had to find ways around that to try and keep the character of the synth without losing all the width when it collapsed to mono. So there's various things you can do, but you'll never get it sounding exactly the same. You'll always be a bit disappointed with your mono-compatible version of your big wide synth. Yeah, it's a losing battle, that one. But yeah, if I lose a bit of stereo stuff, I don't really mind. So important thing for mixing is to have a mono button on your master channel. You can hear the drums are all pretty much direct in the center. And then that new guitar-y thing, bass line with the amp on. Shit, I've gone over an hour. Shit. The bass line thing with the guitar amp on loses the width and some of the power, but so what I will do to kind of minimize that loss is use a mid-side EQ. This one's from DMG Audio. I am a fanboy. So you can see the blue here is the sides, or the stereo, and then the white behind is the center of the image, the mid, or the mono, kind of. Yep. So I will turn down the side a bit, turn up the mid a bit, then do my mono check again. I'm not losing too much now, so I'm happy with that. So I quite like that loop, but I want to spice up. I just want to spice it up. So I'll probably just start chopping it up a bit. Reminds me a little bit of the track I did for my Elements release, which was called Septum. If I was a pro YouTuber, I'd say there's a link in the comments. But you can Google that for yourself, okay? Put some effort in. So yeah, that's the kind of idea. And then I want a little something at the end, because that's just, don't we all? I'm just going to do some time stretchy biz again. I just said biz. So I think with the algorithm that says tempo phone, it does pitch, I think. So you can get a nice... Ooh yeah. Just said, ooh yeah. That's right. So although I am talking to you, I am also basically talking to myself. Which at points is a bit weird when I catch myself saying things, then realise I'm talking to you, not just myself. Lockdown is having an effect. Right. I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine. Yeah, so that last time stretch bit is pretty cool, but it's slightly... As with any time stretching, you get timing issues. But, excuse me. I can fiddle about with the timing with these markers. Same as Ableton, really, I think. That's another one of those details that I'll probably come back to later. Because I'm on a roll now, so I don't want to be fiddling around with that. Alright, let's just see how those sections go together. annoying. I was going to loop that, but that end bit is annoying me, so I'm going to have to fix it. It's just the time stretching issue. Worse if you don't loop it properly. It just sounds like it's glitching. It's that last note. Looks alright, but looks aren't everything. Looks can be deceiving. Right, I'm going to go with it for now. Hopefully. Unless I get really annoyed when I listen to it. Yeah, maybe I am going to find something else just to add in there. I got groove perks. Distort perks. What's groove perks then? Tit. That's loud, but I like it. We can turn it down. Oh shoot. So I'm going to use this hi-hat like a ride. What's the difference, you may say? God, that is loud. Let's just chop one up. Turn it down. Has that done it? Yes. Just get this on grid. Whoa. What's going on with that? It's just maybe the logic being not that great. Weird. Looks fine there. Just going to chop this sample. Remember, it's loud. Still very loud. And it's slightly off center, one-sided. So I'm going to mono it, because there's nothing I hate more than a hi-hat, a one-sided hi-hat. So again, I'm going to cut the bottom off. I'm going to do what I did with the God, I'm having an old man moment. Sorry about that. Gonna get the reverb, and I'm gonna get the sidechain. Because I want the hi-hat to really pump. Maybe that's the wrong reverb for it. Just want some cheap, nasty thing. Gonna get the hi-hats rolling. Just fairly easy. What have I done there? Weird. There I go again. I'm talking to myself. Forgot you guys were there. I just realised I chopped something that I shouldn't have. It's just confused my quantization brain. Yep, so I'm just making a little cut here because I've done it on that kick as well. Not going to worry for now. So it's coming together. I think what I'm going to do is probably carry on for a little bit longer, and then what I would normally do is I'd stop and then I'd have a break. Probably for a few days. I'd just leave it alone, then I'd come back to it, and if I thought it was any good, I would finish it off. Or I might come back to it and think there's a couple of good bits, you know, I could use that bit and make that into something great. Or these days it's normally first ideas are the best. So So what I'm now going to do is just check whether my intro bits fit with my main section bits. So I'll just have a little experiment. They do, but the EQs don't fit together. Well, there's a lot of low end on that chord thing, so that's just interfering with my beefy guitar bass thing. I can always automate that. There's Logic catching up. Yeah, I'm just sort of fiddling around live. See what happens when I fiddle around live. Yes, so I've got to stop talking as I press play. Doesn't work. Yeah, so this is probably the middle break. So just fleshing that out a bit. Let's get some more top end on that synth. This is just automating the filter. So I'd probably drop the kicks out for a bit at the end there. rid of you. Where are you? So, yeah, I reckon that about covers it. I've got my second main section there. Then that might carry on a little bit longer. Then outro, which will basically be a backwards intro, because it's techno. What else? Yeah, so as I said, I'd probably leave it there, come back to it. So that is what I'm going to do. If you want to hear the track when it's finished, keep a lookout. As I said, it's being released as part of Kaylah's EP on Märked, who are from Amsterdam. So yeah, obviously the release isn't finished yet because I'm literally doing the remix now. But once that's done, I think the originals are done, and then I'll be mastering the whole thing. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something from it. Maybe next time I think I'm doing a mastering feedback video soon, in association with someone else. There's news for that coming up. But yeah, that's it for now. That's an hour and 24 minutes of your life you're never going to get back. So thanks, bye.